Good morning. We're looking at Psalm 40 this morning, and it begins, I waited patiently for the Lord, and he inclined to me and heard my cry. It's so wonderful to know that God listens, and it says he inclined to me, which is a beautiful picture of him kind of leaning down to listen. That he's making a move toward us, that when we cry, he's not just sitting back, relaxing, he's not interested or disinterested, he is interested, and he inclines to us and he hears our cry. But we can't skip over that first verse because it's really important. It says, I waited patiently for the Lord. That sometimes when we're seeking God, the response that we get, even though God hears immediately and even though he begins to work immediately, we don't always see the results of that. And it requires from us patience to wait upon God. And part of growing up in the Christian walk is learning to wait on God, learning to trust him enough so that you will be still and see him work in the situation according to his time, according to his dictates. Waited patiently for the Lord. But the result of that patient waiting is always going to be good, and he encourages us to do that. So he inclined to me, he heard my cry, he also brought me out of a horrible pit, out of the miry clay, and set my feet upon a rock and established my steps. God can change our circumstances entirely, and there's so many people who have testimonies of being in a horrible place, being where they thought that they were lost, where they had no way of coming back from it, and God took them from that place, pulled them out of the miry clay, and set them upon a rock, a place where they could be established and secure, and established their steps, gave them a way to go forward. He has put a new song in my mouth, praise to our God. Many will see it and fear and will trust in the Lord. And I love that we can have a new song to sing before God. We had the song of woe that we sang, which was one when we were lost. All we could sing about was the things that were going to go wrong in our life. But no matter where we are as a Christian, we can have a song of praise because we know where we're heading. We're heading to that glorious kingdom, to that place that he has prepared for us. And he puts in our mouth a new song, and we can praise him, and it's wonderful. Many will see it and will fear and will trust in the Lord. Blessed is that man who makes the Lord his trust. Blessed also can be translated happy. Happy is the man who makes the Lord his trust. If you want to be happy, trust God. If you want to have a good result, be patient and wait on the Lord. He says about this man that he does not respect the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies, that pride and lies are things that we put far from ourselves. Many, O Lord my God, are your wonderful works which you have done, and your thoughts toward us cannot be recounted to you in order. If you would declare and speak them, they are more than can be numbered. I want to just stop here and have us meditate the rest of the day just on these verses. Happy is the man who trusts in the Lord, that doesn't respect the proud and turn aside to lies. And then it talks about God's wondrous works or wonderful works. How many are there? And if you just think about every day, the brilliant things that we can see and we can experience. Everything that you put in your mouth that tastes good, that came from God. The sunshine that we perceive that warms our bodies, that came from God. The love that we can feel from other people, that comes from God. And you can go on and make a list of so many things. The birds' song in the trees, There's thousands of things every day that sometimes we take so for granted. But these are the wonderful works of God, and the most wonderful of all of them was that Jesus Christ, the Son of God, left heaven, took on flesh, came to the place where we were, lived a sinless life, died in our place, was buried, rose again, and because he lives, we live too. But think about these next verses. This just blows my mind. And your thoughts toward us cannot be recounted to you in order. If I would declare and speak them, they are more than can be numbered. It says that God's thoughts toward us, God up there in heaven, you think he's distracted, maybe doing other things. It says that he's thinking about us all the time. And if we tried to number the amount of thoughts that God has about us, that we could never come up with the total. They're more than can be numbered. That's amazing to me. That God is constantly thinking about us, constantly loving us, constantly watching over us. It says in the Word that the very hairs of our head are numbered. That God knows not just how many hairs there are, but he knows hair number 2 from hair number 2 million, which is which. He thinks about us all the time. And that's wonderful, because when he said to Jeremiah, I know the thoughts that I have toward you, and the plans that he has, and that they're for good and for a future. So that the thoughts of God aren't for us to trip us up or to condemn us, but he thinks about us in a loving way and in a good way. And I can't wait to get to that place that he's prepared. And in the meantime, I want to spend as much time as I can with the one who thinks about us so much, who loves us so much, who inclines his ear to me every time we cry. God is so wonderful. Think about it. Bye.